Hi everyone, today we will learn about the maxillary artery and its branches. Maxillary artery is one of the terminal branches of the external carotid artery and it originates within the parotid gland behind the neck of the mandible. From there it runs anteriorly towards the pterygopalatine fossa through the infratemporal fossa. In the infratemporal fossa, it crosses the lower head of the lateral pterygoid muscle. Thus, the course of the artery can be divided as three parts: the mandibular part, which is medial to the mandible, neck of the mandible; the pterygoid part, which is crossing the lower head of the lateral pterygoid muscle, and the pterygopalatine part, which is entering into the pterygopalatine fossa. The maxillary artery has a wide distribution of its blood supply from the external acoustic meatus, the tympanic cavity, dura mater, the bones of the skull, trigeminal ganglion, mandibular nerve, the infratemporal fossa and its contents, that is the muscles of mastication, mandibular nerve and its branches, and the maxillary tooth. So, the molars, premolars, incisors, canines of the maxilla and adjoining gums, also the nasal cavity and infraorbital muscles and on the cheek. So, it has a wide distribution of blood. So, how the branches are arranged, we will see today. If this is the temporomandibular joint, this is the external acoustic meatus and the parotid gland lies here like this. And here within the parotid gland, the external carotid artery terminates into two terminal branches. One goes up as the superficial temporal artery and our maxillary artery. So, this is the external carotid artery which runs above as the superficial temporal artery, and this is the maxillary artery which is formed behind the neck of the mandible, crosses the mandible on its medial side, so other side, and it runs in the infratemporal fossa. Here the infratemporal fossa, if you remember, this is the pterygopalatine fossa here. This is the maxilla, lateral pterygoid muscle, roof of the infratemporal fossa, this is the orbit. So, this is the orbit, the maxillary artery, and here the lateral pterygoid muscle is present like this. Like this. So, this is the lower head of the lateral pterygoid muscle. This artery crosses the mandible and runs along the lower border of this lateral pterygoid muscle, and up to this level, this part is called the mandibular part. From here, the artery in 60% of the cases it crosses lateral to the lateral pterygoid muscle, that is like this. Like this, and in 40% of the cases it goes behind the lower head of the lateral pterygoid and emerges between the two heads to enter the pterygopalatine fossa. So, this part is called the pterygoid part, this is the pterygoid part, and the third part is this is the pterygopalatine part which enters into the nasal cavity through a foramen, the sphenopalatine foramen, which is present on the medial wall of the pterygopalatine fossa. So, we will see the branches one by one. The first branch from the mandibular part, the mandibular part gives 5 branches, all enter different parts of the bone through different foramina. The first artery is behind the mandible, it goes up. So, we will see the branches in direct artery once again. So, here the first branch is the deep auricular artery. It emerges from the artery behind the or medial to the mandible and goes up. So, if this is the artery, the first artery is the deep auricular artery. This artery pierces the bony part or the cartilaginous part of the external acoustic meatus to enter into the external acoustic meatus and supplies the skin of the external meatus and the cuticular layer of the tympanum. So, this is supplying the external acoustic meatus. This is the deep auricular artery. The second branch also arises medial to the mandible and it goes up like this. So, the second branch goes like this, and this is the anterior tympanic artery. So, the anterior tympanic artery, it passes through the medial end of the petrosquamous fissure. The petrosquamous fissure is between the petrous part of the temporal bone and the squamous part of the temporal bone. So, it passes along with the chorda tympani nerve and it enters the tympanic cavity to supply blood to the inner layer of the tympanum and the mucous lining of the tympanic cavity. So, this is the anterior tympanic artery. The third artery is the middle meningeal artery. So, this is the middle meningeal artery. It starts from here and goes up like this. So, it passes through the foramen spinosum along with the nervus spinosus, which is the branch of the mandibular trunk. So, it passes the foramen spinosum here and it enters the middle cranial fossa. So, from here this foramen spinosum leads the middle meningeal artery into the middle cranial fossa. From here this artery runs anterolaterally like this. After a distance, it divides into a frontal branch and a parietal branch like this. So, a frontal branch and parietal branch. This frontal branch passes forwards and crosses the greater wing of sphenoid to reach the pterion. So, pterion is this point where parietal bone, frontal bone, sphenoid bone and temporal bone joins. A H-shaped suture is there, that is the pterion, and at this point it ascends up like this and it divides into vertical branches. They reach almost to the vertex of the scalp. There they anastomose with the middle meningeal artery branches of other side and other meningeal artery branches. So, few branches almost reach the occipital region also. So, this is about the frontal branch. The parietal branch goes backwards and reaches the mastoid region where it ramifies to supply the dura mater of the occipital region and temporal region. So, these are the branches. Other than this middle meningeal artery also gives ganglionic branches to the trigeminal ganglion, and they give a petrosal branch which passes through the hiatus per the petrosal bone and enters the tympanic cavity. There it supplies the facial nerve, the geniculate ganglion, the chorda tympani artery, and also the mucous membrane. So, this petrosal artery anastomoses with the branches of the stylomastoid artery within the tympanic cavity. Here, so ganglionic branches, one petrosal branch, and another branch is the superior tympanic artery. This superior tympanic artery passes through the canal for the tensor tympani muscle that will be discussed in the class of the auditory tube and ear. So, it passes through the canal for the tensor tympani muscle and supplies that muscle and the mucous lining of that canal. So, this is the superior tympanic artery, and it gives also few temporal branches which passes through the minute foramina present on the greater wing of the sphenoid and the temporal bone to anastomose with the deep temporal arteries which supply the temporalis muscle. It also gives a anastomosing branch which goes to the orbit through the lateral end of the superior arterial fissure, which anastomoses with the recurrent branch of the lacrimal artery. So, these are the branches. So, these are all named branches. It also supplies number of branches to the skull bones and the dura mater and the red bone marrow of the skull bones. So, this is about the middle meningeal artery. Now, the fourth branch is another artery which is also going upwards in this direction, and it passes through the foramen ovale. So, this is the middle meningeal artery. Then the fourth one is accessory meningeal artery. So, this is the accessory meningeal artery. The accessory meningeal artery passes through the foramen ovale along with the mandibular nerve. So, while going, it supplies blood to the medial pterygoid muscle, the upper head of the lateral pterygoid muscle, the mandibular nerve, its trunk, branches, otic ganglion, tensor veli palatini, the lateral pterygoid plate. So, all these parts are supplied by this artery. Then it enters the medial cranial fossa and it supplies branches to the trigeminal ganglion and the dura mater present there. So, this is about the accessory meningeal artery. Another branch from this part comes downwards like this, and it enters the mandibular foramen here. It passes between the sphenomandibular ligament and the ramus of the mandible, and it enters the mandibular foramen. After entering there, it passes through the mandibular foramen, and this is the mandibular canal present here like this. So, this is the mandible. So, it passes through this canal which supplies blood to the passes through the canal and which supplies blood to the molar tooth and premolars along with the gums surrounding them. So, after that it passes in the same canal. So, it forms plexus here, same canal, then it supplies the incisors and the canines as the incisive artery. Before forming incisive artery, it gives a branch which comes out through the mental foramen and it comes out onto the chin to supply the skin of the chin. So, this is about the inferior alveolar artery. Before entering into this foramen, mandibular foramen, it gives a branch which pierces the sphenomandibular ligament to supply the mylohyoid muscle, and also a few lingual branches which supply the mucosa lining the inner aspect of the mandible. So, mylohyoid artery and a lingual branches. So, this is about the inferior alveolar artery. So, this will be like this. Inferior alveolar artery. So, these 5 branches are from the mandibular part of the maxillary artery. Then comes the pterygoid part, which crosses the lower head of the pterygoid muscle. I already said in 60% of the cases it crosses superficial to the, that is the lateral side of aspect of the muscle, and in 40% the medial aspect of the muscle. So, it gives all 5 branches, 5 to 6 branches, all are muscular branches and all supply the muscles of mastication. So, from here the first branch is the mesenteric branch. A short branch comes here like this. So, mesenteric branch like this. So, it curves around the upper part of the mesenteric artery. It curves around the upper part of the lateral, upper border of the lateral pterygoid muscle along with the mesenteric nerve, which is a branch of the anterior division of mandibular nerve, and it emerges out through the mandibular notch and reaches the masseter muscle from its deeper aspect and supplies the masseter muscle. On the way, it gives few tweaks to the temporomandibular joint also. So, this is the mesenteric artery. Then comes the second branch is, there are 2 or 3 deep temporal arteries. These are called deep temporal arteries. So, deep temporal arteries start from here, they go up under the zygomatic arch and reach the temporalis muscle and supply it from its deeper aspect. They also anastomose with the temporal branch of the middle meningeal arteries. So, these are the deep temporal arteries, anterior, middle and posterior deep temporal arteries are there. Then comes the branches to the pterygoid muscles, the lateral pterygoid and medial pterygoid muscles, but their number and position is variable in many aspects. So, pterygoid branches, these are the pterygoid branches. So, these are the pterygoid arteries. And the last one is the buccal artery. The buccal artery arises from here, it goes down and anteriorly to appear on the cheek to supply the mucous membrane and the skin around the surrounding the buccinator muscle. So, this is the buccal branch, buccal artery. So, these are the branches of the second part. So, the buccal artery comes here, the pterygoid part, they supply the medial pterygoid muscle, and the buccal branch goes like this. So, these are the branches. So, this is the about the second part of the maxillary artery. Now, from here it turns medially, the maxillary artery turns medially, enters the pterygomaxillary fissure between the pterygoid plate and the maxilla and enters into the pterygopalatine fossa. Within the fossa, it runs medially to enter the spinopalatine foramen, which leads this artery into the posterior aspect of the roof of the nose, in the posterior aspect of the superior meatus. So, it gives few branches here, almost 6 branches here. So, what are the branches? The first branch is the posterior superior alveolar nerve. It originates from the artery immediately after its entry into the pterygopalatine fossa. So, from here the artery originates, then it comes out through the pterygomaxillary fissure and reaches the posterior surface of the maxilla, where it divides into few branches which passes through the foramina present over there to supply the molars and premolars of the maxilla, and few twigs to the maxillary air sinus, which is present right over here. So, maxillary air sinus is present here like this. So, this maxillary air sinus, it gives few twigs to the there. Then the second branch is infraorbital artery. The infraorbital artery originates here, then runs forward. Here we have to say one point, this pterygopalatine fossa anteriorly is in connection with the orbit through the inferior orbital fissure. So, on the floor of the orbit there is a groove, the infraorbital groove is there here. So, this artery passes through that groove, a groove is here like this, a groove is here like this, and it is converted into a canal which opens out as inferior orbital foramen just above the cheek. So, this is a groove here, this artery passes through this groove and then passes through the inferior orbital canal, inferior orbital foramen, and appears on the cheek. So, when it appears on the cheek, it gives few branches which curve upwards to the lacrimal sac present here, and few goes to the lateral aspect of the nose, and few goes to the skin over the upper lip. So, these are the lacrimal branches, nasal branches, and labial branches. This is about the inferior orbital artery. So, from here we have this is the posterior superior alveolar artery, then comes inferior orbital artery, this is the inferior orbital artery, then comes the third branch comes from here, that is the middle posterior. So, this is the middle superior alveolar artery. So, from here the middle superior alveolar artery comes down and it pierces the maxilla and passes through the maxillary air sinus and supplies the maxillary dentition. So, it also gives branches to the mucous membrane that is lining the maxillary air sinus. So, this is the middle superior alveolar artery. So, first branch is posterior superior alveolar artery, second branch is the inferior orbital artery, the third branch is the middle posterior superior artery. When we say posterior middle, so there must be some other branch also, the anterior superior alveolar artery which starts from the inferior orbital artery. So, this inferior orbital artery, when it passes through the groove, it gives few branches upwards to supply the inferior orbital muscles, inferior rectus and inferior oblique muscles are there, it supplies those muscles, and another branch which comes down through the maxillary air sinus to supply the incisors and canines. So, that also gives few branches to the maxillary air sinus. So, this is the anterior superior alveolar artery which is a branch of the inferior orbital artery. So, these are the branches which supply the teeth of the maxilla. The fourth branch is within the pterygopalatine fossa, it goes backwards. The pterygopalatine fossa on its posterior wall has three openings. The upper opening is the foramen rotundum which allows the maxillary nerve to come from the middle cranial fossa into the pterygopalatine fossa. Then a little bit down we will see another foramen, that is the pterygoid canal. So, this artery, the pterygoid branch. So, from here we have the artery of the pterygoid canal. This is the artery of pterygoid canal. So, that is the artery of the pterygoid canal which passes through that pterygoid canal to enter into the posterior superior aspect of the nasopharynx, where it supplies blood to the part of the auditory tube, the nasopharynx, inferior meatus. So, that is about the artery of the pterygoid canal. Another branch comes here only on the posterior side. So, here it goes down, that is the pharyngeal artery. So, this is the pharyngeal artery. So, that pharyngeal artery here it passes through the palatino-vaginal canal to reach the nasopharynx, and it also supplies a part of pharynx and a part of the auditory tube. So, the last branch or is the continuation of this maxillary artery. This is the branch into the sphenopalatine foramen. The sphenopalatine foramen is located on the medial wall of the pterygopalatine fossa, which leads this artery into the posterior superior quadrant of the nose. So, this is the sphenopalatine artery. So, these are the main branches, and one more branch is there. From here it descends down like this. So, this is the greater palatine artery. The pterygopalatine fossa already discussed. There is a opening below which is called the that is the palatine foramen, present behind the last molar tooth. So, through this the greater palatine artery descends down. Within the canal it gives few branches to the inferior meatus of the nose. Then it divides into, it gives 2 or 3 lesser palatine arteries. So, these lesser palatine arteries leave this canal through the lesser palatine foramen, and they supply that palatine tonsil, a part of the pharynx and the soft palate. So, the greater palatine artery runs forward and it curves within the tooth under the hard palate, and it comes forward to reach the incisive fossa. Through the lateral incisive canal, it gives few branches which enter into the nasal cavity over the nasal septum. So, this artery also supplies, this artery goes forward and goes up into the nose. So, it also supplies nasal septum. So, these branch anastomose with the branches of this sphenopalatine artery on the nasal septum. So, this is about the greater palatine artery. This is the greater palatine artery, and these are the lesser palatine arteries which supply the soft palate and the palatine tonsil. The sphenopalatine artery, after entering into the nose, roof of the nose, it divides into posterolateral branches, posteroseptal branches. The posterolateral branches ramify over the lateral wall of the nose, and they anastomose with the ethmoidal branches of the ethmoidal artery and other branches, and they supply the lateral wall, that is the concave, ethmoidal air sinuses, sphenoidal air sinuses, all are there. So, they supply those parts and they anastomose and ramify on the lateral wall. The posteroseptal branches, they ramify over the septum, nasal septum, and they also anastomose with the branches of the ethmoidal artery and branches of this greater palatine artery. One of those branches runs over the vomer to reach the incisive canal, reach the anterior inferior part of the septum to anastomose with the greater palatine artery. So, where that is the place of the epistaxis or the Little's area. So, thus the sphenopalatine artery also supplies the medial septum and nose also. So, this is about the branches of this maxillary artery. So, if you have any doubt or anything, you can ask in the comment section, and this is about the branches of the maxillary artery. So, thank you very much, and please like, share or subscribe, and thank you very much.